The first thing that we always say in terms of marketing is to understand the customer. Uh, that is the very basic. You cannot go any basic than that. But we've seen a lot of businesses going down because of the lack of focus on the customer.
Hi all, welcome to Engati CX. Today we have the pleasure of welcoming Muntazir Haider to our interview series. I would like to begin with just a quick intro of Engati. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code chatbot platform available across 14 channels with 25,000 bots created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by INC.com, TechWorld, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog, video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 300,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest, Muntazir is a seasoned entrepreneur, trainer, consultant, and coach, an MBA from IBA, bagging over 15 years of corporate experience and running 8 businesses across 10 different countries and 3 continents. Muntazir is one of the pioneers of social media marketing in the region and has served brands like Pizza Hut, Nokia, Food Panda, etc. He is one of the leading marketing consultants today associated with USAID, providing marketing services to SMEs on a massive scale. Former CMO of Food Panda Pakistan and brand manager for Nokia and Pizza Hut Pakistan, Muntazir has diversified experience in variety of sectors. So hi Muntazir, we are really thrilled to have you on Engati.
It's a pleasure, Dipsy. How are you doing?
Yeah, we are doing good.
Great.
So before we begin with the interview, here's a quick announcement. We have something special for all of you, so would like to stick around till the end of the interview. So beginning with the first question that I have for you is, as one of the founders of the brand consultants, how do you think outdoor advertising is going to change or be impacted with this wave of digital transformation?
Okay, let's step a little bit back towards the history when we would have the motionless and static versions of the outdoor advertising. Then after a huge span of time, we gradually moved towards displaying some videos on those outdoor advertising, and that overall took a long period of time, that innovation to come in. But as soon as we had this social media blend coming in, we saw a huge change, a drastic change in the outdoor advertising. So we saw a lot of interactive ads and outdoor advertising. In the West, we've seen people drinking different soft drinks from the outdoor advertising, the kiosk, the interactive kiosk, and all those things. So yes, the digital transformation has brought it a long way. But honestly speaking, the things that I see is there is the technological advancement is coming pretty need based. Uh, Outdoor advertising to survive in the long run, it has to be innovative of itself rather than having a push based innovation whereby if social media is coming in fast, then you bring about certain innovation. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, definitely. So it is like you trying to not to push it or deliberately show it to the consumers, but it's like more when the consumer wants to see it, that kind of advertising that you're talking about.
Absolutely, and I would like to add here that the future settings of this outdoor advertising is very dependent on COVID thing, on how it eases up in the near future. Because of course, if people are not going out, the outdoor does not work. And I was looking at the Spanish flu documentary a couple of days back, and I realized that we are far from over for the COVID-19 scenario. So let's just hope for the best.
Yeah, definitely. So, with your experience in advertising, what are some basics that the business need to keep in mind in order to create an everlasting impression?
Okay, the first thing that we always say in terms of marketing is to understand the customer. Uh, that is the very basic. You cannot go any basic than that. But we've seen a lot of businesses going down because of the lack of focus on the customer.
Right.
A lot of focus for businesses goes on how the brand manager wants to drive the business,
Yes.
or how the business owner wants to drive the business.
Yeah.
So when you talk about basics, the first thing is customer analysis, knowing who your customer is, where the customer stands, the thought process and psyche of the customer.
Yes.
So that's the first basic that as I see it. Secondly, it's very critical for any marketeer to understand what the competition is doing. If you don't get a hang of the competition, you might end up doing exactly what they're doing, or you might end up being in a direction that is not aligned with your industry.
Yes.
Yes, innovation is important, but knowing your competition, knowing people surrounding you is very, very important.
Yes.
The third thing that I want to point out as a very, very basic is what exactly do you want to achieve out of it? Like if you're coming up with a sales-driven campaign, you cannot build a brand out of it.
Right.
If you're coming with a brand-driven campaign, you cannot have a sales target achieved out of it. So it's, and plus you need to understand the industry cycle and all that. So based on all that, you need to understand what your objectives are pertinent to a marketing campaign. Number four, what and how to deliver. So really the content and how that content has to be delivered. People think digital is the thing right now. Everything goes on digital. Everything does not go on digital.
Yeah.
So what the content part, that is very, very critical.
Yeah.
And how communication medium.
Yes.
In some places, honestly speaking, radio is still very, very effective in certain things. In certain scenarios, television is still very, very effective. So number four, that. And number five, the most important thing, again, we started from the customer and I would end on the customer, that will the customer connect to it? Someone might come with an absolutely crazy idea, a very creative concept, a wonderful content, but if the customer is unable to connect, it goes down the drain.
Yes.
So I gave you five basics: the customer analysis, competitor analysis, knowing what you want to achieve, what and how to deliver, and finally is the customer connect. You need the customer connect to be there. So yeah, those are my five basics.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers the whole funnel on how to build a marketing strategy from the scratch. So that is, very, very basic, but I think not everybody can follow all that part, and maybe that's why people fail when they are trying to present a brand or they are trying to advertise something. So yeah, these are the
one of my favorite sports is cricket, and in cricket they say that the more experience you get, the more basic mistakes you make. And basic mistakes are very common in marketing. In fact, I often quote Philip Kotler, who says that 66% of businesses, startups, they fail because lack of market research. Now, if there is no market research is the most basic thing, and 66% is like 2/3 of the startups. So basics are the ones where often we end up making those mistakes.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. Yeah. So when creating a global campaign, how can business overcome factors such as location, culture, language, and any ideas on how a business can go about globalization?
Okay, now things that I'm about to say will prove the fact that marketeers are very evilish and devilish kind of people, because come to think of it, it's us marketeers who create division in the society, because we say that A class customer are different than B class and different than C class.
Right.
So we create that differentiation in the society.
Yeah.
So what I'm about to say will prove that marketers are pretty evilish kind of people in the true sense. So when we are creating a global campaign, say for example, since our HQ is based in UAE,
Yeah.
and we are catering to about 9-10 different countries. So when we create a global campaign, what we see is what locations this ad would be primarily running.
Yes.
So for example, if I'm running an ad for my company,
Yeah.
yes, the target audience is global, but my prime focus is those 10, 9, 8 different countries.
Yes.
So we'll jot down those countries first. Then within those countries, we see what are the prohibits of those countries. What are the things that are not acceptable in all of those
Yes.
to avoid conflicts? Because, for example, let's take a very crude example. There's a Muslim countries and then non-Muslim countries. In Muslim countries, you would have certain restrictions on how you represent a female.
Right.
In non-Muslim countries, there'll be no such restriction. Okay, so if we apply those restrictions, it is acceptable for them. If we don't apply restrictions, it's not acceptable for them. So we'll apply restrictions. So that's how we go about. We pick the conflict areas, we identify them, we list the prohibits, and make sure that those prohibits are not applied even a bit in any of those campaigns. Then, now this is the most evil part, what I'm about to say. Amongst the countries that we've listed, that these are prime audience, okay, I really don't like to say this, but as a marketer, I have to. We'll see which region is superior to the others.
Right.
Now, I don't mean to say that one country is superior over the other, but I'm really saying that one country is superior over the other. So we pick up the superior region and we choose that superior region's language, which is widely acceptable. So, for example, if we are creating an ad for the Middle East region, we would pick out Arabic as the major language.
Right.
If we are developing a content for the whole of Europe, we know there are a lot of different languages in Europe, but the most prevalent one is English.
Yes.
We would pick up English language. If we're creating a campaign for Russia and China, we would know that China holds a bigger market. So we would pick up China as the leader. So we pick that language, we create the content around that, and then we have its adaptation. That's how we go about with the globalization. The most important aspect of globalization is the marketing audit. So if we created an advertisement and we would be performing a marketing content on it to understand that would this be an objectionable content in either of the regions. If it is slightly objectionable, still we would discard it and we would go back to the nation phase.
That is, like you said, that it looks like we are trying to divide, but when we are looking for achieving goals for the company, we have to keep in mind what the cultures of the countries that we are targeting on. So
Absolutely. The real aspect is of localization is, again, at the cost of repeating myself, to avoid conflicts. That's what we're looking at. Something that's acceptable for all. So the marketing audit is very, very critical after you created that campaign.
Yes, definitely. So what new forms of digital marketing trends will be seen post this pandemic, and will there be emergence of new media like podcasts, video, or TikTok platform or something of that sort?
Honestly speaking, there are a lot of these platforms that are merging up. But Facebook, honestly speaking, as a marketeer, I see that Facebook has taken up a position which is very, very difficult for any platform to take up in the next 5-7 years. Yes, the TikTok and everything are emerging, and there's another one known as Interactor. It's an interactive video platform. But the plus point with Facebook is that it's been existing for a while. Not just existing, but it's innovating. And not just innovating, but it's a trendsetter in innovation. And over and above that, there are leaders, there are category leaders which become arrogant. So they would say that if my competitor has done this thing, I will not do that. It's something very acknowledgeable of Facebook that if a competition comes with something that is better, Facebook will come up with a competing feature or it will buy it out. So I think beating up Facebook in the next 5 years would be a challenging task for any upcoming platform.
So you think it's still a mainstream platform for advertising or for companies to put out their brands.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So what role do AI and technology play in creating a comprehensive digital marketing strategy?
Uh, the key term for any marketing campaign is data.
Yes.
Data is the foundation of everything, of decision making. Who, how, why, when, all those things. Data is the thing. So I still remember about 14 years back when we started off digital marketing for one of the premier brands, and we would look around for data. What time does the customer come online?
Yeah.
How does he look at the screen? Which colors are appealing? Those are the very, very basics. Then I remember my term with Food Panda, and we would analyze that. For example, I'll quote you an example which I often do in my analytics classes. You go to Food Panda website, and first you select the area. Second step, you select the cuisine.
Yes.
Then you select the restaurant. Then you pick what you want to eat.
Yes.
And then you check out. So these are about 4 or 5 different steps. So we created a funnel. A funnel in the sense that, for example, 100 people, 100 visitors are coming on the website, out of which, say, 90 people are selecting areas, out of which 80 people are selecting the cuisine. And when we came to the bottom of that funnel, we realized that out of the 100 visitors that came on the first place, we have only 10 orders.
Yes.
So there is a 90% leakage in the system. So within that leakage, we would understand where the customer is getting out of the system. And with the help of technology, we are able to understand that where exactly was the page scroll when the person switched off the browser. So those kind of analytics, they are not just making things complex for a marketer, but they're making it more fun also. You can look at more trends than you could catch from standing in a supermarket and observing consumer behavior. You can actually come up with different kind of crazy trends and understand where the customer is leaving you off. So I think AI has changed the landscape with all the Kareens and the Ubers and the Uber Eats and the food pandas coming in. And of course, Alibaba, AliExpress, Amazon, all those things. I think AI has changed the way marketing operates, and more rapid changes will come in the next, say, year or two, maybe.
Coming, yes, definitely. I also remember this good feature that these food delivery apps provide, that they remember what I had ordered last time. They know what restaurants I like to order from, so they will show me the recommendations that if you want to select from these restaurants, you can go ahead and choose from that. So that is a given personalized experience, and I think technology is bringing in that, giving a personalized experience to the customer.
Absolutely. And I'll share something with you. Previously, you would have those SMS messages and all that. SMS has gone totally obsolete these days.
Yes. Yeah.
And now these apps offer a feature. For example, if you are holding an app and I'm the moderator of it, I'm the administrator of it, there's a feature called push notification.
Yes.
So if you ordered once, say for example, you ordered KFC at 1 p.m., the next day I will remind you at 12, it's time to order KFC. Those kind of things. So AI has drastically changed how the world operates, and the change that came in the past 5 years, you can anticipate more changes in the next year or maybe 2 at max.
Yes, it has improved widely. Now you have to decide on what data you want to use and how you want to leverage it in your marketing strategy.
Absolutely. That's where the concepts such as, we were previously talking about, say, 10, 15 years back, 20 years back, we were talking about databases, then we went to data warehouses, and now we're talking about, everyone's talking about the big data. Let's have as much data as possible so our decision making becomes the best.
Definitely, yeah, that's true. So concluding, do you have any other thoughts that you would like to share with our audience?
Honestly speaking, since I teach as well, one thing that comes to my mind is the fact that no matter how much technology advances, I remember saying the same thing about computers about, let's say, I think 10 years back when everyone wanted to be a computer science graduate, and they would say that your technology is improving at a rapid pace. And I would tell them the same thing that time, that if your basics, your fundamentals are strong, then you can conquer any technology. So when I was a student, my teacher would say that anyone who knows C++ or C sharp, they would know any language that is ever created.
Absolutely.
Same thing is valid right now. So if you know your basics, for example, the five basics that you pointed out, if you know your basics, you stick to your basics, then every technology can be conquered by you.
Yes, yes, absolutely. The funnel that you have mentioned, it is like for even if you are planning a marketing strategy, or even if you are, trying to bring in some innovation or adopting some technology, if those basics are followed, then I think uh, you would make lesser mistakes. I would not say no mistakes, but lesser mistakes.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely very well said. Yes.
So thank you so much, Muntazir, for giving us your time. I think your insights and the examples that you shared were really valuable. And I think our audience is really going to enjoy this interview.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Wonderful questions put up. I really love it when when the host asks something different, something innovative, and something which they feel would add value. So I think they were tremendous questions. I tried to answer them to the best of my knowledge, but again, I'm no guru of marketing, so I might have made a mistake, and if I have, then I apologize. But it was a wonderful experience, and I hope whatever I've said could add value to someone's life
Yeah,
and
yeah,
someone's
it did.
marketing.
It did, definitely. It did. So if you have stuck around for this long, we are so excited to announce that our ebook, The Evolution of Customer Experience, is out and available to download. So you can check the link in the description below for more details. We'll be back with a new episode with a brand new expert soon, so stay tuned and we'll see you around for the next one. Thank you so much.